AC.
Yeah, they didn't give up.
See,
They tried at least to coalesce.
Let me tell you something. I was opportune to meet President Jonathan in person sometime, I think it was this month. No, last month. It was I was part of those who had to receive him at Chivayo Adebanjo's residence after Papa died. And I looked at the man and I realized why the APC could do what it did in 2015. Jonathan is a man of peace. He's not your typical Nigerian politician. What qualified Jonathan to be the deputy governor in Bayelsa disqualified him to be the president of Nigeria. What qualified him to be the vice president to Yaradua disqualified him from being the Nigerian president. It is those disqualifications that made it possible for APC to gain power in 2015. The first job of the Nigerian president from inception has been to preserve themselves in power. Whether that means
consolidate power.
Whatever they had to do, they did. Jonathan was too much of a gentleman to play that game. That's why he's out of power. To now answer your question, I don't believe that Tinubu cannot be removed from office. But I don't believe that that will be achieved because a coalition of disgruntled politicians came together to decree it. It will only happen when the people come to the knowledge of the fact that power resides with them. It is in that knowledge that they can work to remove the APC. The blight that has overtaken our land can never be removed on account of politicians cross-carpeting up and down the place. In any case, when have you ever heard Nigerian politicians quarreling over substantive issues of policy or anything of the sort?
Ideology, no.
Never. The only time they quarrel is when they can't share the loot in their preferred fashion. So that PDP or Pupupu or this one or that one, I'm not interested in coalitions of politicians. I would love to see Nigerians realigning across the length and breadth of Nigeria, awakening to the fact that this is their country, they have no other one, and they are the ones who would have to save it. Organizing themselves to resist the burgeoning impunity that has overtaken our country. That will give me hope. But talking about politicians aligning, forming this or forming that coalition, I just see it as more of the same old nonsense. I don't see that birthing any change of any sort.
Yeah, I mean, staying on the topic of Jonathan, since you brought him up, for me personally, he was he's such a weak, ineffective, feckless leader.
See, that's the thing right there.
Yeah.
Weak, feckless. But it is systems and institutions that are required to be strong.
But people make up institutions. The people have to build them up. It takes time to build institutions.
People build institutions. I'm not denying the fact of Jonathan's weakness, but I'm explaining that persons need to be weak. It is systems that should be strengthened. That Jonathan is a weak person is what would have disqualified him from the governorship of Bayelsa and what would have disqualified him from the presidency of Nigeria. But if he was weak and institutions were strong, what happened to him, what is happening to us, will not be happening.
Yeah, but one can argue, and I will argue, that his weakness destroyed Nigeria. His weakness brought him Boko Haram.
What do you think he could have done? No,
but he was so weak that his military, his NSA,
I must disagree.
Stole billions of dollars.
No, I must disagree vehemently with that.
But everything stems from the leader, sir. The leader is the one that look at Dubai. Dubai, one can argue that Dubai, the UAE has no institutions at first. It took one leader to transform Dubai.
No.
So if we had a good president.
No. I must disagree with you. Vehemently true. And I would explain my rationale. In the first place, the ruler of Dubai had an overarching vision,
yes,
by which he wanted his country developed, and he set himself about the task. Remember, he did not have constitutional restraints on office. He didn't have to worry about elections. I'm not suggesting that should be a bar to visioning. Don't get me wrong. Now, remember as well that the APC is the most virulently propagandic organization that has ever existed in Nigeria. They claimed he stole this, he stole that, he did this, he did that. How many people have been sentenced to jail for these stealings?
Very few, 1 or 2.
The APC has been in power for 10 years. The only person convicted for corruption from the whole Jonathan government, I think it was Metu, and the late Okupe.
You're doing Okupe.
What did they steal? They didn't get approval. They split. I think they didn't get approval. They collected money in cash. What about the billions that Dasuki was supposed to have stolen? What has happened to him? He's not facing trial in any court in Nigeria again now. So, when you've not proven any allegation other than the scandalizing of persons up and down the place, Diezani has diamond encrusted brass. What have they done to her?
But
10 years. 10 years. What has happened? Nothing. So what I'm not suggesting that Jonathan was some paragon of virtue or he was a strong man who could have taken Nigeria to El Dorado. But I'm saying that we must be careful not to buy the stories that the APC has told in order to demonize.
Yeah, but you and I was in Nigeria, sir, when Boko Haram was taking over local governments in the north.
Boko Haram was taking over local government, but it is in this same country.
The UN building was bombed.
Don't worry, it was in this same country.
Chibok girls.
Don't worry now, it was in this same country that a Commodore Laomi came out and told all of us that inside Buhari's cabinet, you had Boko Haram commanders. He didn't say it in a coven.
No, I guess
it wasn't whispered. Oh, I'm coming. It wasn't whispered in a beer parlor. He said it inside Channel's morning show on TV, national TV. He was summoned, I think, by the DSS. He was released because the man said, and he has repeated it severally, that names of Boko Haram sponsors were given to the Buhari government. The UAE came out and said it had given the list of Boko Haram sponsors, over 300 of them, to the Buhari regime. Nothing ever happened to them. Baraje, the national secretary of the APC at inception, came out and told all of us that the APC imported Fulani terrorists to destabilize Nigeria during the Jonathan years. So, if we are dealing with a situation where persons who openly confessed to sponsoring terrorism for political reasons have taken over the governance of the country, we have the benefit of hindsight when we are talking about the proliferation of Boko Haram in 2014, 2015. The least we can do is to acknowledge the confessions of APC operatives who have since then come out into the public space. Even the Dapchi and even the Chibok kidnapping. There have been various arguments since then to show that was a false flag operation that was essentially driven to discredit the Jonathan government. That it took place or did not take place is not the argument, but that it was sponsored by persons within the opposition. These are valid things that have been in the public space.